Hello, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I have a quick review of Lonely Castle Lemire by Mizuki Tsujimura. I apologize if I say any names incorrectly today. It is a Japanese novel. And I also would like to apologize for my sort of clickbait thumbnail. I do make the thumbnails ahead of time. I couldn't really think of anything as like a little tagline for the video. So I just put a new Narnia or the new Narnia just because of the similarities between the stories, where Lonely Castle is similar to Narnia in that it is a portal fantasy, where in this book a group of children are transported into a castle located in their shining mirror. And we learn throughout the novel that these kids have something in common. The kids all are they are dealing with their own struggles and whether or not they want to stay in school. They are bullied. They are, ostracized, and they are really just not a part of any group. Throughout most of the novel, we follow Kokoro. She is oh man, I can't remember the age exactly. It's been a while since I've read the book. I finished it back. It was the first book I finished in February, and it's now March. But Kokoro, if I can remember, I think she's like 13 or 14. She's in grade 7. But I think the grades are different than how we are in the United States. And when I taught grade 7 in the United States, they were 12 and 13 as well. So I believe she's 13 or 14 in the book. But most of the time, we follow Kokoro and her experiences in the castle. They are all in this castle. They are promised when they reach it by a wolf girl that whoever finds a key to a door will have one wish granted. And Kokoro's wish is that she wants her wish to be that her bully would never exist. So that's really the gist of the novel. But in essence, I really enjoyed it. I want to go ahead and skip to that. I really enjoyed it. It was one of my favorite reads of the month. February was a good month of reading. And so far, I would say it's probably one of my favorite reads of the whole year. We are still early in the year, but I think it's going to be very difficult for a lot of books to pass it. I want to start with the positives. That's how I normally start my reviews, with some positives about the book. I would say that the number one thing that I noticed immediately was that the characters, they are all, again, very young. They're young adult. I think the youngest is 12 and the oldest is 16. And they all are very realistic, in my opinion. Again, that is the age that I teach. And these characters, they actually felt like human beings. I think the last review that I did, it was Prophet's Song. And one of my complaints about Prophet's Song was that one of the kids didn't feel realistic at all. Not so in this book. All of the children act like children, at least from my point of view. They all had very realistic struggles, very realistic fears and desires as well. And that was really refreshing. They acted like kids, and that is very rare, at least in the books that I read. But I love that. All of them were very, I was rooting for all of them. Another thing that I noticed, and I think a lot of people when they read this book will immediately be drawn into the themes. The themes are really powerful. This book is about bullying, and it is about trying to find your group and who you belong to and who you belong with, and trying to make friends. And I think, a lot of younger adults and children will really relate to this book because of that. That's what this whole novel is about. It's about trying to make friends and trying to find a group that you belong to, and sticking together as a group, and wanting more for the group than just for yourself. And coming together. This book does have a lot of themes about mental health and what it, and the struggles that someone who is, having mental health issues, what they go through. That is also very realistic, very powerful as well. I think, one of my early reviews and one of my earlier thoughts is that I wish I could teach this book to my kids. That is one thing that, because of the age group that I teach, that's something that I would like to be careful about, though. It doesn't shy away from showing the impact that bullying has on someone, and there are moments of assault as well in this book, so you do need to be careful with that. I don't know if I would ever teach it to sixth graders, but which is the age I currently teach, but maybe older kids. I did actually recommend this book to one of my former students, and while she hasn't started reading it, she started reading another book instead that I recommended. I think she's going to pick it up pretty soon, and I think she'll enjoy this book too. I think another thing that I really, really enjoyed about this book is definitely not only are all the children characters very realistic, but I really enjoyed the wolf girl. You meet her very early on, and she is the caretaker of this castle. I guess that's the best way of putting it. She's the caretaker. She's in charge of the castle. I really liked her character as well. She was funny. She was very straightforward, and I really had a blast. Every time she came into the book, she really stole every single scene that she was in. And I think a lot of people are going to really appreciate her as a character too. The plot itself, I thought it really it is a fantasy, and it does have fantastical elements, and I do think the plot all came together pretty well. I was very happy with that. No gripes at all. I thought it was a very satisfying ending. You are left, you aren't left with a lot of questions. That's actually going to be a complaint of mine in a second. But you are led throughout because there is a little bit of a mystery involved with this castle. Like, what do these kids have in common? And this book does a really good job of, guiding you through this journey, guiding you through these mysteries without giving too much away. But as I said, I do have some minor gripes with it. With the ending, in a way, I do feel like the ending was over-explained. And what do these kids have in common? There's a big old info dump right after the climax that I think was a little distracting, and it did kind of tear me out of the story a little bit. That is something that bugged me while I was reading it. And I do think one of the other complaints that I had, it's not like the biggest complaint. It really depends on personal preference. This is a translation, and maybe I'm just missing a lot from the translation, but there is absolutely no purple prose at all. And what that means is the language isn't flowery. I would argue this may come across as very harsh. I don't mean it to, but there's really not a lot of beautiful writing in this book. It is very straightforward. It is very clean and cut perfectly. It's not what I would call fantastical language at all. But that could just be because of the translation, and that could be, again, personal preference. Not a lot of people may not want flowery language in this type of story. It didn't pull any punches at all with its writing. It was very straight to the point, and a lot of people might enjoy that. Again, this is going to be a shorter review because I read it back in early February. It was the first book I read. But I love this book. I will repeat that, one of the highest praises I can give this book is that I wish I could teach it to my sixth graders, but all I can do currently is just recommend it to former students. I ended up giving it an A+. It was a great book for me. I really felt drawn to the characters and their issues that they had, and the conflict was just great. I do think if you are looking for a middle grade or maybe young adult book that deals with bullying and mental health, look no further than this book. There is an animated movie adaptation. I haven't watched it yet. I looked at the reviews and they seemed pretty average. So I think I'm going to stay away from it. But yeah, that's all I got really for you today. Thank you for watching this short review. Like, subscribe, do whatever. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.